Hi friends, and welcome to episode 53 of M1 Yarns and the Michigan Makers podcast. I'm your host, Jamie. You can find me. I'll put all my contact information below. And I always forget to say this, but if you don't mind giving the video a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, that really helps me out. Just a little admin. So this is a fun episode that was born out of a suggestion by one of you. So I love suggestions. I'm always open to them. And I thought that this was great timing because a lot of us ordered Advent kits for this time of year. And a lot of folks don't know what they want to do with them. And so I thought I would give you some of my favorite patterns that incorporate smaller bits of yarn, whether it would be a mini skein or maybe some scraps like half balls left over from other projects. I'm going to give you 11 pattern suggestions for Advent minis. In a lot of these, you hold them double, and in some of them, you fade them. We've got clothes, we've got accessories, shawls. I think shawls also double very well for throws on the sofa. Especially as like a lap rug. So let me just say that there because I'm not a huge shawl person, but I would like something that I can just throw over my lap while I knit. So without further ado, option number 1 is the Heiress clutch. This is actually by the same designer who designed the Zion sweater, which is a kit in my shop, which sometime around the time of the release of this, or soon thereafter, I'll be releasing a finished object video on this sweater. But basically, she incorporates the leftovers from that sweater into the clutch. But I think even if you're not making the sweater, the clutch is just adorable, and I would love the idea of a knit clutch. So that is by Lucia. My dog kicks the tripod every time. Lucia Ruiz de Aguirre. I'm sure I butchered that, and I really apologize. Okay, next up, the San Geronimo cowl. This is by J. Dar, and this has kind of a similar vibe as far as like the, I don't know that I want to call them stripes, but the color work motif. And this incorporates a main color with 4 contrast colors. So I think especially if you're a sock knitter and you only want to use some of your Advent minis, or maybe those that are slightly more tonal than like speckled ones, for example, this might be a really good option. Next up is a shawl that I recommend to everyone who emails me asking for Advent yarn suggestions. I just think this is so fun. It's got texture, it's got color. It's called Coming Together by Lisa K. Ross, and it uses 6 50-gram skeins, which really are like, no, wait a minute, which really is like saying 12 to 15-ish 20-gram skeins, which most minis are. So you could really do some fun, just like trial and error, see what works for you. I just think this is gorgeous. Next up is a sweater I've actually been really wanting to knit, and this is called My Favorite Adventure by Dragon Horde Designs. And she designed this for yarn advent calendars because she felt the same way. Like, she didn't know what to do with the yarn. Let's see here. The main color was 940 yards, and then she doesn't say how many others, but it looks like she incorporates nearly 25 colors-ish. So that could be really fun. Next up is the Bonfire Advent Wrap. and I just love the texture on this. I think it just, the sample is black and white, so I think it's really cool that she doesn't distract you with the colors. You just get the idea of what the stitches themselves would do. And that would call for 24 hand-dyed 20 gram minis, and then one 100 gram skein of another color. So fun, fun, fun. I love that. Next up is the Speltis by Samantha Troya. And this is a 25-day Advent situation. And I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. Just really like a free-for-all. And I think this would be a really cool piece laying on the back of a sofa too. Love it. Another shawl that I always recommend is the Tasting Menu by Stephanie Lotvin. This uses 10 colors, all but one of which you could do with a mini skein, and then the other one you would just need like a full skein. And I think, again, this has really pretty texture in it. Next up is the Comfort Fade Cardi. I think that while this pattern only calls for 4 colors, I think it would be really cool to fade the colors. So if you're not familiar with how to do a fade, let's say you have color 1 and color 2. There's going to be part of it where you're knitting color 1 held doubled. Then you're going to knit 1 strand of color 1 and 1 strand of color 2. And then you're going to knit 2 strands of color 2. So that's how you fade in and out. I think that would be really cool. You might have to add in some extra scraps depending on your size. But I think that would be a really fun like coat of many colors. Next up, I really love the DK Triforce Fade Shawl, which again would make an awesome lap rug. She used 12 mini skeins of fingering weight yarn in this, and then 2 skeins of a main color. I also really love the Sediment Scraps blanket by Katie Rose Priel, and this could be a good scrap buster for a lot of other weight yarns, maybe held with your minis, because the weight is bulky. So if you're looking for a bulkier lap rug, that might be really kind of fun. And then last but not least is one of my favorites for Advents, and it's the Arda by Ethan Pyle. There are 2 different sizes of wingspan and depth in this design, so you can pick if you want small or large. The sample, which is a version of the large, uses 23 minis and then two full skeins of fingering weight yarn in undyed. So those are some suggestions for you as far as what you can use your Advent yarn for, or even if you didn't order an Advent, if you have a lot of, you know, leftovers that you're trying to bust. I am all about busting both stash and scraps because I really subscribe to the motto of waste not, want not. And we all have a collection of little bits and bobs that, you know, put together can make something really cool. So I hope you find this video helpful. If you don't mind, give me a thumbs up and comment below what pattern appealed to you most. And if you have any pattern suggestions for other viewers as far as stash, scrap, Advent busting. All right, I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season, and I'll see you next time. Bye.